The entire weekend, Daniel prepared for the interview, because this wasn't just another opportunity, it was a second chance. Monday morning finally arrived. Daniel carefully put on the same suit he had not worn in years, knowing how much it depended on the day ahead. As he stood before the mirror making a few final adjustments, Favor quietly entered the room. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she stepped closer and adjusted his tie, just like she used to when they were newly married. "Good luck," she whispered. The interview went better than he expected. As he left the building, he couldn't help but feel that things might finally be starting to change. 3 days later, his phone rang from an unknown number. His heart stopped for a moment as the caller delivered the news. "We're pleased to inform you that you've been selected." Daniel could hardly believe what he had just heard. After months of uncertainty and disappointment, he had finally gotten the job. For the first time in years, Daniel ran home like a little boy, eager to share the good news he had waited so long to hear. But the moment he reached his street, his smile began to fade. Something didn't feel right. The atmosphere was different, and a feeling of dread slowly settled in his chest. Then he saw it, a moving truck, furniture outside, and neighbors quietly watching. His smile disappeared, and his heart began to race. The sofa, the dining table, the refrigerator, everything they owned was sitting outside the house. As panic began to set in, Daniel looked around for Favor, but she was nowhere to be seen. Daniel pushed through the crowd, his heart pounding as he desperately searched for one person. Then he saw her, sitting quietly beneath a tree across the street, away from the noise and confusion. She wasn't angry, she wasn't crying. She wasn't even looking at the furniture being carried away. She was simply tired. The kind of tired that comes from carrying too much for too long and fighting battles no one else could see. When Daniel saw her, he slowly walked over to her in silence and handed her his phone. She read the message once, then she read it again as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her eyes moved slowly across the screen before she finally looked up at him. "You got it?" she asked softly. Daniel nodded. "I got the job." For a moment she said nothing. She simply stared at him, trying to take it all in. The years of pressure finally caught up with her, years of sacrifice, years of worrying, years of carrying the family through difficult seasons, years of pretending to be strong when she was falling apart inside. All came crashing down at once. Tears filled her eyes as the weight she had carried for so long finally became too much to hold. Daniel wrapped his arms around her, and for the first time in years they cried together. Months later, life still wasn't perfect. There were still bills, still struggles. But now, they were facing them together. One afternoon, while cleaning the house, Daniel found an old notebook hidden inside a drawer. Inside were years of sacrifices, rent payments, school fees, hospital bills, expenses she had carried alone. Then he reached the final page, and the words before him hit harder than anything else. Written in small letters were words he would never forget. "I don't mind carrying the family. I just wish I wasn't carrying it alone." At that moment, Daniel finally understood. Favor had never needed a hero. She had only needed a partner. And from that day forward, he promised himself one thing: no matter what life brought their way, she would never carry the weight of the world alone again.